What's up, everybody? This is Zach with Nerdcade Plus for February 27th, 2018. Hope that your week is off to an awesome start. All right, let's get into the news. And if you didn't know this already, Metal Gear Survive sucks. And here's why. Metal Gear Survive new save files cost cash. What are you doing, Konami? What are you doing? Alongside the Metal Gear Survive series launch day problems comes disturbing news about one of the game's microtransactions. In an industry first, it's been confirmed that you have to buy Metal Gear Survive's new save files if you wish to create a new character. Now, you can get one of them free if you want to delete your current character and everything. That's a way you could do it. Or you couldn't, or you could pay $10. I know they do like a daily sign-in bonus and all of that, but it costs about $10, and you would have to sign in over and over and over every day and all that good stuff to get it. Also, the game is not sold very well, and it runs like trash on the Fox engine, which is very, very hard to do. I watched some gameplay and everything, listened to some people that I trust about it, and it is not good. So I would highly suggest, for me, don't buy it. Don't play it. There's way better games. Go play Monster Hunter. Seriously, just go play Monster Hunter. Final Fantasy 15 content roadmap extends to 2019. According to an interview from Dinjikai, I don't know. Online, Final Fantasy 15's roadmap of DLC episodes will continue until at least 2019. Interview director Hajime Tabata and game designer Takefumi Terada, sorry, I'm butchering names, discussed the current 3-episode plan for the remainder of 2018, starting with the announced episode Arden. While working on that, Tabata realized they wanted to do more content for the game and added a 4th episode to the docket. That means all 4 episodes spread out will go through 2018 and into 2019. As for future content beyond that, it's undecided. So the thing that's very encouraging about this is that if you are a person that is just getting into Final Fantasy 15, you've got a ton of content to play. If you're somebody that had played through Final Fantasy 15 and was like, okay, it was pretty good, I wish there was more to it. Now there's even more that is being constantly put out. They have every episode so far is dealing with the companions that you played the game through and everything. I haven't played Final Fantasy 15, but I know a lot of people are excited about the DLC content that they've been putting out. So hearing this, that they're going to make a 4th episode, it's a good thing. It's a double-edged sword here that, yes, you're getting more content, but with them not even having a plan for that 4th episode, kind of makes me question, are they just trying to make this a live service in a way, or are they just passionate about this project? So we'll see what they come up with. Hopefully it'll be good. And if you're a Final Fantasy 15 player, are you excited about more content coming to the game? Let me know in the comments below. Now, we've heard a ton about loot boxes, the controversy that was surrounded Star Wars Battlefront 2 and all the loot box kind of nonsense that's been going on with microtransactions and all of that. And we knew that eventually it would blow up, and it has. And there's been lawmakers that have been trying to step in. But on top of that, let me see if that one's on the docket. Yeah, we'll go to this one. The ESRB is flagging games with in-game purchases via a new label. The ESRB has announced that it will soon affix a new label on physical games that feature a variety of paid in-game purchases, including loot boxes, season passes, and DLC. In addition, the Game Ratings Organization has launched a new site designed to inform parents about in-game purchases and how to enable parental tools to prevent their kids from racking up in-game charges without their permission. The announcement follows high-profile blowbacks on loot crates, which have include calls from politicians for organizations to more closely monitor those kinds of in-game purchases. The ESRB isn't flagging loot crates in particular, but they're including a blanket level which includes bonus level skin surprises items such as packs, loot boxes, mystery awards, music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, subscriptions, season passes, upgrades, and more. That right there tells me that the ESRB, of course, if you don't know, was formed to protect the gaming industry back in the early 90s, especially like around Mortal Kombat and everything with violence and everything. They rated the games and all of this, and it is a lobbying organization for the gaming industry. And this is just a way, and you saw it earlier in 2017 where they said that loot boxes are not gambling. That's because the people that pay them are the gaming industry, if you don't understand that yet. And this, yes, it needs to be labeled. I 100% agree with that it needs to be labeled, but that doesn't stop it. Just like parents buying violent video games for children, I've seen, a third or fourth grader get bought GTA 5 in GameStop, and their parents just buy it for them. That is a big problem to me. That's stuff that they don't need to be seeing, they don't need to be around and everything, and we can get into the whole gambling and all of that, but I'm glad that they're labeling it, but that is only a small step, and it's a half step at that. I think they're just trying to turn the tide of what legislation could happen. I know Hawaii is looking very, very in-depth in legislation against loot boxes and gambling in video games and everything, but it goes a little bit deeper than that because there are people that have addictive tendencies. There are people that have to have everything. It's go back to Pokemon, you got to catch them all. That's literally their slogan. But they're not raffling off the Pokemon and loot boxes. The game would be broken at that point. The thing that you have been given since the beginning of Pokemon, which today is Pokemon Day. Happy Pokemon Day to all the Pokemon players out there. That if that was happening, there would be a big uproar to it. Games used to come with everything that was in the box. You used to get all the alternate skins. You used to get all of these things. And I'm not even complaining about DLC. DLC usually is a good thing. There's been cases where you've paid for the last level, which is absolutely ridiculous and asinine in my opinion. But with loot boxes, we've seen this trend of how far can we go before it blows up in our face? And we saw that with EA, and now people are like, oh, well, we're better than that. We're not doing what EA did, but it's worse than what it was. So we're just seeing a big change in what gaming is, and we're definitely moving towards live services, but I'm not going to get into all of that. Speaking of legislation against video games, Rhode Island representative plans tax bill on violent video games. Roberto Nardillo is a Republican member of the Rhode Island House of Representatives. Recently, the politician announced that he will be introducing legislation that would add a 10% tax to all M-rated video games sold in Rhode Island. Proceeds for this proposed bill would reportedly go to fund mental health initiatives and counseling for students. There's evidence that children exposed to violent video games at a young age tend to act more aggressively than those who are not, Nardillo said in a press release. This bill will give schools the additional resources needed to help students deal with that aggression in a positive way. Now, I love that somebody is trying to help mental health in the political realm and everything, but making video games the culprit of all of that's... yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Look at TV. There's more violent things on TV. Like there are a lot of things going on that are at play here, and it comes down to the society that we live in. There is hardly any love in our society. People do not show love to other people. People don't care about other people, and that's where it stems from. If people would actually show people that they care about them, that they realize that they're a human being with feelings and dreams and hopes, things would change around instead of being in our own little bubble of, oh, well, this is going on in my life. This is the only thing that matters. You don't matter. Or picking on people just because they look different or they dress different or they might not have as much money as you. That's a big problem with our society right now. It's not violent video games. Yes, that could be part of it. And that goes back to people buying their children games they're not intended to play. That's another thing. Parents need to be parents. Just saying. Parents need to be parents and stop acting like you're friends with your kids. Teach them how to act, and they'll be so much better off. I know when I was a kid, I didn't get to play violent video games. Look at me. I turned out pretty well. It's not just that. I was also told and taught how to appreciate people, how to love people. That's one of the things that we need to look at. I'm glad that somebody is looking out for mental health and everything, but this is just a way to justify, like, oh, we're going to tax this thing and do this, that, and the other. You can find funding in a different way. Parents need to be parents. Politicians, you need to learn your stuff. Don't attack the gaming industry. Do it in a different way. Go after the loot boxes. That's just my thing. Sorry, I got on my soapbox there. Nintendo, though. I love me some Nintendo. All that goodness. Nintendo sets up user reviews for games. User reviews are coming to the Nintendo's website as spotted by Polygon, adding a feature that lets fans talk up or talk down games on the Nintendo systems. If you played a Nintendo 3DS or Nintendo Switch game and your My Nintendo ID confirms as much, you can go to the company's website and drop some thoughts about the game. This process for this is, at best, I don't know, in Nintendo's way, so let's go step by step. To review a game, you browse Nintendo's game guide and search for the game you want to talk about. Upon finding, let's say, Splatoon, you scroll down to review this game. Assuming you're logged in with your Nintendo ID, Nintendo servers will check if you've played the game for at least 2 hours. If you have, great. You can submit a review using a five-star system, create a headline, write a review with a minimum of 50 characters, so not just this sucks or wow. Be nice and mark for spoilers and identify what type of gamer you are, core gamer, casual gamer, parent, or Nintendo fan. I like that they have requirements here and that it's checking that you actually play the game, because there's a lot of times where people will go out of their way for whatever reason to bash a game. I'm not sure why, but they will before they even play it. And I know I talk down about some games. It's because of microtransactions and all of that, if you don't get that by now. But I love that it's requiring you to play at least 2 hours a game before, so you actually can form an opinion about something, and requiring you to put more than 50 characters. You'll still get the wow, and it's like a bunch of O's and a bunch of W's and all of that, but it makes it where people are, it's kind of like perusing that and kind of like solidifying the opinion and everything. So I'm glad that it's not just a thumbs up, thumbs down type deal, that it's actually, you can rate it and everything. And I think this will help Nintendo's eShop, because I know there's some games, especially indie games or nindies, that I don't know if they're necessarily good or not. They're going to put their best stuff up on the page and everything. So it's nice to see that Nintendo is wanting to use their user base in a positive way, to let other gamers know, yeah, you should check this out, or no, you should avoid this at all costs. So I'm liking what you're doing, Nintendo. You keep doing you, and we'll keep doing us. Now, one game company that I wished would just stop is THQ, or Activision. That's Activision, sorry. Now, this was kind of shocking today, and I totally agree with him 100%. Tony Hawk is no longer working with Activision. In case it wasn't already clear that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series is all but dead, the man on the box has confirmed that he is no longer working with the series publisher Activision. Speaking on Twitter, Tony Hawk responded to fans asking for remasters or complaining about the current games by explaining that he is no longer a part of the series. And he says on Twitter, to anyone asking me to remaster old games or complaining about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater servers being down, Activision owns the Tony Hawk Pro Skater license, but I'm no longer working with them. If I had the skills/authority to reboot servers or code games for newer systems on my own, I would be happy to. Now, right there, you hear it from the man himself that was on the box. The last Tony Hawk Pro Skaters was just trash heap. And, you know, I loved the Tony Hawk series. I loved the first one. The second one I didn't really get to play. The third one I played a ton. The fourth one I put in a ludicrous amount of hours into. But this new one, it's definitely was a cash grab. And if you don't know the story, Activision actually put the recent Tony Hawk Pro Skaters game on sale this past weekend. And if you don't know, the servers have been down for quite some time, but they still put the game on sale. Now, the game, majority of it is based off of server activity where you're playing with other people and everything. So majority of the game was blocked off because there are no servers active for this new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game. So a lot of people were complaining, a lot of people up in arms that they bought this game on sale, you know, like, oh man, I remember when I used to play Tony Hawk back in the day. You got that Superman song, which was awesome. And then the game, like half the game doesn't work, or more than half the game doesn't work. And then you find out that Tony Hawk himself isn't even working on the game, isn't even part of it, and that if he had the authority, that he would more than happy reboot the franchise or remaster some of that. And it just speaks a lot to what Activision is really doing. Activision just wants your money. If you don't know that by now, they just want your money. Now, a new Tony Hawk game is a very long ways away. I don't even see it in the distance. I just hear murmurs about it, like where the whispering wells of Nakator. I just made that up. I have no idea. But if you wanted to know what games are coming out today and tomorrow, you're in the right place. Coming out today, and just out of nowhere, Red Barrels was like, hey, guess what? You own a Switch? You like horror games? Boom. Today you get Outlast Bundle of Terror. Just out of nowhere. I'm being 100% honest. They just announced it today, and it was just out of nowhere. So if you're into horror games and all of that, you can definitely check that out. I don't think that includes Outlast 2. I think that just includes Whistleblower in the first one and all of that. So you can check out all of that. Go look it up on your Switch and all that good stuff. But if you're into horror games, check that one out. Blasters of the Universes, PSVR, Crypt of the Serpent King for PlayStation 4, De Blob 2 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Don't Knock Twice, Physical Edition for PlayStation 4 and PSVR. The Elder Scrolls Online Dragon Bones DLC. You got to kind of say that like Dragon Ball Z. For PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Elite Dangerous Beyond Chapter 1, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, Mac, Rift, and Vive. Gravel. PS4, Xbox One, PC. I'm assuming that's some kind of like dirt bike or whatever, like kind of game or ATV game or a racing game of some sort. I don't know what Gravel is. Heroin Anthem Zero Episode 1 for PlayStation 4. People, name your stuff so we know what it's about. Hex Tunnel for PSVR. I'm sure there's tunnels and there's a lot of hexagons. Immortal Redneck for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It actually looked kind of interesting at E3 this past summer, so I'm curious to see what the reviews and everything are. Jetto Mero, Hero of the Universe, PlayStation 4. Moss for PSVR. I'm really curious to see what Moss is about and see like the playthrough and how long it is and if the story is really good. Just the little bit that I've seen of the game, it looks really, really fun. And if you have a PlayStation VR, you definitely need to check it out. Molaka for PlayStation 4 and PC. Payday 2 is coming to the Switch today. Puyo Puyo Tetris for the PC. Rift Stars Raiders for the PlayStation 4. Shiny PlayStation 4. The Sims 4 Jungle Adventure Game Pack for the PC and Mac. Streets of Red for the PlayStation 4 and Switch. Timothy versus the Aliens for the PlayStation 4. Now, for tomorrow, February 28th, you can check out Air Hockey on the Switch. Bridge Constructor Portal for the Xbox One and the Switch. I'm glad to see that come into the Switch. I think that would be a lot of fun being able to play that game on the go. Darkest Dungeon for the Xbox One. Deep Rock Galactic Game Preview Early Access for Xbox One and PC. Perfect Angel. Angel. PlayStation 4. Rift Star Raiders for Xbox One and PC. Switch or Die Trying, Xbox One. Now, I figured that was like a Switch game. I'm not sure. But there you go. We do have a question. So we're going to go over to our awesome Google form. You can always submit a question at nerdcavenetwork.com/NCP and get any question answered on the show, as long as it's appropriate, of course. So that, again, is nerdcavenetwork.com/NCP, just like Nick did. He said, I don't know if it will be fit in tonight's topic, but with the indie games being so popular on the Switch, I'm wondering what your guys' top 3 indie games are. Let me define what I'm considering indie, so I make sure that everyone knows when I talk about it, what I mean. Okay, when I think of indie, I think of not AAA. If they are an independent AA studio, which you only have a few of those right now, I consider those. And then, of course, all of your just kind of outlier indie studios that you have. Probably my favorite indie game off the top of my head would be Life is Strange. That game is amazing. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I wish I could like reset my mind where I didn't know anything about it and play it again, just because it was so good. Like I enjoyed it so much. I know Journey is not necessarily an indie game, but it definitely has an indie feel to it. Because Sony Santa Monica helped make it. But I really liked it. But I'm not going to put that on the table. One of my other favorites is Until Dawn, made by Supermassive. They're not affiliated with anybody, but that is such a polished game, and it is so good. And if you're looking for something that, if you like horror games or if you like story-driven games, that is a game that you need to play. I did a Let's Play series of it, and it is fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody, especially if you like that kind of genre of movies. It definitely feels more like a movie than a lot of other games, but it also has a lot of choices that branch and change the story a lot. You could pretty much, everybody could die, or you could save everybody, or some people can die, some people live and everything, and you get invested with the characters. Like, I remember I hated the mess out of Mike. Hated Mike. I wanted Mike to die. But by the end of it, I was like, I'm not going to kill Mike because I need Mike. So it's interesting to see where it goes and what it develops into and everything. So Life is Strange, and then Until Dawn, and then I'm going to give it up to Hellblade. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is fantastic. It is so good. The game deals with mental health in such an interesting way, and the use of the audio and the visual elements and everything to craft the story is just something that I've never seen done before. And with it being a AA studio, I think it's Ninja Theory that did it, just blew me away. Like, every time I get to play that game, it is so much fun. And I am just excited to see what they do, because they they made this game happen, and they've already made profit on it, which is just phenomenal. And there's a bunch of other indie games that I played. Castle Crashers is awesome. I used to play that a ton back in the day during college and everything. There's just a bunch of them out there. I'm curious to see what everyone's favorite top 3 indie games are. You can let me know in the comments below, because I'm always looking for something new to play. I know, Nick, I know you're playing Not in the Woods right now. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that. Because I know for me, it's one of the games that I've been really wanting to play for quite some time. If you're looking for something that is like Dark Souls but is different in a way, like it's more futuristic, The Surge is a good one. I'm not a big Dark Souls fan. I just don't like dying a lot in video games, but it was really good, the bit that I got to play of it, which it's an indie game and everything. But there are a ton of awesome game developers that are out there that are not tied down to a huge publisher, that aren't doing all of these crazy things. One of them, Housemarque over in Sweden, I want to say. I did an interview with one of their people a few months ago, I want to say, or actually about a year ago now, and they made some really awesome arcade games. Alienation, man, that is an awesome game. They did Matterfall, and then they, what was that other one? They did Dead Nation. They did a lot of awesome games, and unfortunately, they didn't, because not a lot of people like arcade shoot 'em up, kind of bullet hell, if you will, games that they aren't making arcade games anymore. They're switching their style and everything. They're switching genres. So if you know somebody, if you have a independent developer that you really love, support their games, buy their games. Like, they deserve to have your support. Like, they really do, because if they don't have it, then they won't make those games anymore, and they'll go the way of Visceral or something like that. So definitely support them and everything. But I hope you enjoyed the episode, everybody. I know it was a little bit different and everything, but I definitely enjoyed getting to chat with everybody, and I hope that your week goes well. And if you have any other questions, suggestions for the show, or corrections, you can go over to nerdcavenetwork.com/NCP. Give them there, and we'll read them and implement things. And I love getting to answer your questions. Thank you, Nick, for putting one in for me. It definitely made the show end on a really good note. And I know I got on my soapbox earlier, but I hope everybody enjoyed the show. If you want to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/nerdcave. Check out all the awesome tiers that we have and the rewards that come with it. We're still working on getting episode 2 of the Nerd Caves and Dragons show up and running and everything. But right now we do have 2 parts of an episode of the first episode. So that's about 2 to 3 hours long. That's available where you can watch and everything. And it is a ton of fun. I've had a lot of people saying that they're really enjoying it. So if you've played Dungeons and Dragons for quite some time, definitely check it out. If you're new to it, we're new to it, so it's a lot of fun. Allie's doing an amazing job as Dungeon Master and everything, and I know me, Allie, Amy, and Robbie are having a really good time coming into our characters and everything, and we can't wait to share more and more with you. So, everybody, we do hope that you're having a good week and that the rest of it is going to be awesome. Again, if you have any questions, go over to nerdcavenetwork.com/NCP and throw them in there. And make sure that you go subscribe over on all the podcast services so you don't miss out on any of the goodness. This has been Zach for February 27th, 2018 for Nerd Cave Plus. Have a week.